meeting to order. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance in a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This meeting is being recorded, and anything said in this meeting will become part of public record and posted on the county's YouTube channel in the near future. Since the last time the Board of Commissioners met, I cannot think of a single time that would be considered anything close to an executive session, nor can I think of any correspondence that bears repeating. Okay? Any public comment? Hearing none. The agenda today is very light. We have repository tax bids, appointments to the Conservation District, and the Columbus Township Act 13 application. Am I missing anything? All right. Have you had a chance to review the November 27th minutes?
Yep.
Meet with your approval?
Yes.
Fiscal report.
You have the fiscal finance report in front of you. General fund has $3.1 million available, and the theory savings is about $450. And we will be, probably the treasurer will be transferring the next week the last $200,000 over to the savings from the general fund to repay for the borrowing that we did for the locks early in the year. I have nothing to add to that.
Okay. Any questions? Proclamation, Christmas 2019. Luke chapter 2, verses 10 through 12 say, I bring you good news of great joy that will be for all people. Today in the town of David, his son, a Savior, has been born to you. He is Christ the Lord. This will be a sign to you. You will find a baby wrapped in clothes and lying in a manger. Whereas, for 2,000 years, Christmas has proclaimed a message of hope, the patient hope of men and women across centuries who listened to the words of the prophets and lived in joyful expectation, the hope of Mary, who welcomed God's plan with great faith, and the hope of wise men, who set out on a long journey guided only by a slender promise traced in the stars. Christmas reminds us that the grandest purposes of God can be found in the humblest places, and it gives us hope that all the love and gifts that come to us in this life are the signs and symbols of an even greater love and gift that came on Holy Night. Whereas the Christmas season fills our hearts with gratitude for the many blessings in our lives, with those blessings comes a responsibility to reach out to others. Many of our fellow Americans still suffer from the effects of illness or poverty. Others fight cruel addictions, cope with division in their families, or grieve the loss of loved ones. Christmas time reminds us, each of us, that we have a duty to love our neighbor just as we would like to be loved ourselves. By volunteering our time and talents where they are needed most, we help the sick, comfort those who suffer, and bring hope to those who despair. Whereas each year, Christmas brings together families, friends, and communities to rejoice in the birth of Jesus Christ and celebrate the wonderful gifts of God that he has bestowed upon us. We also keep in our thoughts and prayers the men and women in our armed forces, especially those far from home, separated from family and friends by the call of duty. These courageous Americans are fighting the enemies of freedom and protecting our country from danger. By bringing liberty to the oppressed, our troops are defending freedom and security for all of us. They and their families are making many sacrifices for our nation, and all Americans are deeply grateful. Adopted this day by the Warren County Commissioners. I would make a motion to approve the agenda, the minutes, the fiscal report, and the proclamation.
I'll second that.
Discussion, public comment. All those in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
There's no old business on the agenda. For news business, there is a repository tax bid. And that is parcel number Whiskey November 501-162-4000000, currently owned by David Marty and Audrey Mader in Glade Township at 14 Jenny Lane. It is about 1/10 of an acre at an assessed value of $189. It was bid on by Andrew and Stephanie Skirda for $189. I move to approve this repository tax bid.
I'll second.
Discussion, public comment. All those in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next, we have a request from the State Conservation Commission to appoint Dean Johnson as a former director to the Conservation District Board, as well as Dave Trimpey, who's a public director. Both of them would be the end of the year, January 1st until December 31st, 2023. I move to approve these appointments.
I'll second.
Discussion, public comment, all those in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
The commissioner appointment will be requested after the first of the year.
Right. Columbus Township, there was Act 13 application for bridge monies. As a reminder, this is money that comes from Marcellus Drilling, and this pot of money is only for bridges. I don't believe Columbus Township has requested anything recently from this fund. They're asking for $30,000, and we have the funds available. And this is, we require a 10% match, at least in-kind match, and they are doing, I believe, about 50%. The total cost of the program looks like it's over $1 million. Any questions?
This will be 2020.
The money would be paid out in 2020. Yeah, they have to spend the money, and then we reimburse them. So I don't think that would happen in the next 3 weeks.
No. Yeah, I think you're right. I think that we put this on the agenda just because Dan Glotz really wanted to get the thing moving so that they could be ready in the spring to start working on this project.
This is, by the way, for the Stewart Road Bridge. It is on the tip. Any other questions? I move to approve the application.
I will second.
Discussion, public comment, all those in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Personnel transaction report. Since the last meeting, the courts filled their judicial law clerk position with Caleb Pennington, effective on 11/18, at an annual salary of $45,107. Megan Evans went from, what did she go from? Effective on the 2nd, in the jail, she went to a corrections officer, perhaps full-time.
She
She probably went
part-time
full-time.
to full-time.
Yeah, most likely part-time to full-time, at a rate of $13.93. And then separations, Shaylin Dombeck left the Department of Human Services as a caseworker, effective on the 27th of last month. I move to ratify the personnel transaction report.
I'll second.
Discussion, those in favor?
Aye.
Any commissioner comments?
Well, I guess I would mention that we had the pleasure of meeting with DEP and Senator Scott Hutchinson and Kathy Rapp about the power plant in Starbrick, and DEP basically stated that they are doing a radiological test and a series of other tests above and beyond what the permit renewal application requires, in order to kind of accommodate a lot of the questions that have been asked by people in the community. Therefore, the renewal of the permit application has been extended. So they're going to wait until those radiological tests are done in order to to have the public hearing that they were discussing having, which would be in the spring. So my assumption would be April-May timeframe. Obviously, they're going to make an official announcement about that at some point. I'm not sure what, because they're still looking at what the time frame is going to be, but I just wanted you to be aware that things are moving forward. Very happy with Senator Hutchinson and Representative Rapp's interest in kind of addressing a lot of the questions that were asked earlier this year. So it was a good discussion.
Very good. Thanks for going to that and letting me know. Anything else?
Nope.
And for me, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
All right, I move to adjourn.
I'll second.
Aye. Adjourn. 10 minutes.